My name is Raima, and at 32 years old, my life is a world away from the future I was once promised. 10 years ago, I was young, radiant, and climbing the corporate ladder at a prestigious firm in the heart of the city. To the outside world, I had successfully secured the ultimate dream, a high-paying career, a dazzlingly wealthy boyfriend named Peter, and a path paved with luxury. But then, I made what everyone called the most reckless, inexplicable decision of my life. I walked away from the glittering parties and financial security to marry Rahul, the quiet, humble cleaner who worked the night shifts at my office building. The backlash was immediate and severe. My colleagues whispered that I had lost my mind, and my mother wept bitterly, mourning the comfortable life I was throwing away. But I was deaf to their warnings. I was intoxicated by a love that felt far more real than the pristine, manicured life Peter had offered me. Now, a decade later, the romantic rebellion of my youth has collided with the crushing weight of reality. It is midnight, and I find myself standing in the dim light of our cramped, freezing kitchen. Through the doorway, I can see my husband, Rahul, collapsed on our frayed, second-hand couch. Today, he worked a grueling 16-hour shift at a grueling $15 an hour, and his exhaustion is palpable in every shallow breath he takes. Down the narrow hall, our son and daughter are fast asleep in the single, tiny bedroom the four of us are forced to share because the deposit for a larger apartment is a luxury we simply cannot afford. Poverty has a way of stripping your dignity piece by piece. Just last month, the electricity company cut our power because we fell short on a $200 bill. I will never forget the sound of my children crying in the pitch black because they couldn't watch their favorite cartoons, or the muffled, heartbreaking sound of Rahul weeping in our tiny bathroom, desperately trying to hide his shame from me. Tomorrow, I have to face my children again and break their hearts, telling them that our promised trip to Disneyland is officially cancelled. We just don't have the money. This life of constant, suffocating worry is the bed I made, and for a long time, I forced myself to simply lie in it. But tonight, everything changed. I was invited by my old company to attend a lavish corporate charity event, a rare glimpse back into the world I left behind. And there, across the ballroom, I saw him, Peter. The man whose heart I broke 10 years ago is now a wildly successful millionaire CEO. He is still strikingly handsome, still undeniably charming, and remarkably, still single. We found ourselves talking, and amidst the stories of his flourishing empire and luxurious life, he looked at me with an intensity that made time stand still. "Raima, I never forgot you," he murmured, his voice cutting through the noise of the room. Without hesitation, he offered me an executive position at his company with a starting salary of $150,000 a year. He pressed his sleek, embossed business card into my palm, telling me the job was mine the second I wanted it. Now, back in the quiet of my kitchen, I am staring at that small piece of cardstock, feeling its immense weight. Calling Peter means instant salvation. It means real money. It means my children wearing brand new shoes instead of hand-me-downs, unwrapping new toys, and finally walking through the gates of Disneyland. It means the end of our financial terror. But the cost is terrifying. Peter is not just a prospective employer, he is the man who once loved me, and the man who, looking into his eyes tonight, clearly still does. I am tortured by the implications. Could I withstand seeing him every single day? Would the old sparks ignite? And what would this do to Rahul, the man who breaks his back working 16 hours a day just to keep food on our table? Would he understand that I was doing it for our family, or would it completely destroy his pride in our marriage? As I trace the letters of Peter's name on the card, my mind violently pulls me back to the night this all began 10 years ago. Peter had rented out an exclusive, candlelit restaurant and presented me with a massive diamond ring, promising to give me the world if I married him. Instead of joy, a profound panic set in, and I told him I needed time. Later that night, I sat alone at my office desk, sobbing uncontrollably. That was when Rahul, wearing his janitor's uniform and carrying his cleaning supplies, found me. He didn't offer empty platitudes or try to fix it, he simply sat down, looked at me with profound kindness, and listened. If you truly loved him, Rahul had said softly, you wouldn't be crying. It was a piercing truth. With Peter, I was a beautiful accessory, small and decorative. But with Rahul, in those quiet, stolen moments in the break room, I felt entirely seen and understood. 2 weeks later, Rahul bravely confessed his feelings, though he promised to back away because of my engagement. In a moment of absolute clarity, I asked him, "What if I want you?" I broke off my engagement that same evening. Peter was livid, his face flushing dark red with insulted disbelief. "The cleaner, Raima? Don't be stupid," he spat. I walked away from him, declaring that while he offered me a comfortable life, Rahul made me feel truly alive. 6 months later, Rahul and I exchanged vows, blissfully unaware that a happy marriage wouldn't shield us from the relentless grind of poverty. Since then, it has been a struggle. I work from home as a freelance designer, scraping together about $2,000 on a good month, while Rahul, despite finishing his schooling last year, has hit wall after wall trying to find a better job. My shaking hands grip the edges of Peter's business card, my mind racing with visions of debt-free living in a house with a backyard. Just as the temptation peaks, I hear a quiet shuffle. Rahul is awake. He walks into the kitchen, rubbing his tired eyes, and instinctively begins boiling water for tea, a small, comforting ritual he has performed every time I've been stressed for the last decade. As we sit at our chipped kitchen table, he reaches into his pocket and places an envelope in front of me. Inside is exactly $2,000 in worn, carefully saved bills. Confused, I ask what it's for. Rahul's eyes soften as he explains that our kids have never seen the ocean. For 2 entire years, secretly putting away dollars and cents from his grueling shifts, he saved enough to take our family on a weekend trip to the beach. Tears instantly blur my vision. He takes my trembling hand, his voice thick with emotion. "I know I'm not the man you deserve," he whispers, tears spilling down his own cheeks. "I can't give you a mansion. I can't give you financial security. But I can give you a man who will never stop trying. A man who saves for 2 years just to see his kids smile. It's all I have, Raima. Please don't give up on us." In that fleeting, fragile moment, clarity washes over me like a tidal wave. I remember the dazzling diamond necklace Peter once bought me, a cold, expensive thing that I eventually lost. Then, I look over at the faded, delicate paper flowers Rahul crafted for me on our first anniversary, which still sit proudly on our windowsill. When I was violently ill with the flu, Peter sent a massive, impersonal bouquet of roses. Rahul, however, sat on the cold bathroom tiles and gently held my hair back while I threw up. When I was deeply depressed, Peter tried to buy my happiness with lavish gifts. Rahul simply sat in the silence with me, holding my hand until the storm passed. Without a word, I pull Peter's business card from my pocket. Rahul recognizes the corporate logo, and the color instantly drains from his face. I tell him about the encounter and the $150,000 offer. As his voice cracks, whispering my name in defeat, I stop him. Right before his eyes, I tear the thick cardstock into tiny pieces, letting them flutter into the trash. I choose you, I tell him fiercely. Peter could give me everything, but you give me yourself every single day. I would rather struggle alongside you than live in comfortable emptiness without you. He pulls me into his chest, and we hold on to each other, weeping in the dim kitchen, choosing love over money all over again. A year later, the universe seemingly rewarded that choice. Through hard work and relentless applying, I landed a fantastic role at a respected design agency, and Rahul was finally hired as a full-time engineer. It wasn't a massive corporate giant, but it was real, honest engineering work, and his pride was entirely restored. We aren't millionaires, but we can finally breathe. The paralyzing fear of the electricity being shut off is gone, and we are steadily building a savings account for that bigger apartment. Then, on a quiet afternoon, my phone rang with an unknown number. It was Peter. It had been a year since the charity gala. After some polite small talk, I mentioned how lucky Rahul and I had been with our new jobs. There was a heavy pause on the line before Peter's voice came back, thick with a strange melancholy. Raima, can I tell you something? The jobs weren't luck. My heart dropped into my stomach. He confessed that he had quietly called in favors with close friends at various companies, highly recommending both Rahul and me to their hiring managers. I was stunned, struggling to catch my breath. Why would you do that? I asked. Peter's answer shifted my entire worldview. Because I realized that true love isn't about possessing someone, he said softly. It's about fiercely wanting them to be happy, even if it means they are happy with someone else. I loved you, Raima. In a way, I always will. But I refuse to be the man who destroys your family and makes your children cry. I helped quietly, not to win you back, but because letting you go meant making sure you were safe when I did. Tears streamed down my face as I thanked him for his profound understanding and grace. He gently told me I had been right all those years ago to choose Rahul. When I hung up the phone, Rahul walked into the room, and I told him everything, the orchestrated jobs, the secret help, and Peter's bittersweet confession. Rahul sat in stunned silence for a long time, absorbing the magnitude of what his former rival had done. Finally, he looked up, a deep respect in his eyes. He loved you enough to let you go, Rahul murmured. That must have been incredibly hard for him. He reached out, taking my hand with the same calloused, familiar grip I had fallen in love with 10 years ago. I love you, Raima. Looking back on that impulsive decision a decade ago, I know people thought I was insane to choose a cleaner over a millionaire. But I would make that same choice every single day. True wealth is never found in a bank account, it is found in the unwavering grip of the person who holds your hand when the world goes dark. Peter taught me the heartbreaking beauty of letting go, but Rahul taught me the enduring miracle of holding on forever. If this story resonated with you, please leave a like, drop a comment with your thoughts, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories.